Hey, Dr. Tamara Hamai here. I help mission-driven leaders build sustainable and impactful organizations. Today, I'm talking about common challenges that leaders face when running organizations, both nonprofit and for-profit. One of the most common is inconsistent and insufficient income, not having enough money or having not enough money consistently over time. Sometimes it's a roller coaster of income. You get some donations or you get some customers and you get money in the door, and it's a boom for a little bit of time where you just work to get the work done. Other times you don't have enough donations, you don't have enough grants, or you don't have enough customers, and so your income is low and barely keeping you up. Maybe you're having to put some money on credit cards or take some loans in order to cover the gap. The ups and downs can be really scary because you're not sure if you're going to still have your doors open, still be serving people in 6 months or a year. Even if you get a grant or a long-term big customer that can keep you going for a year or two at a time, maybe they won't renew. And if you really rely on just one customer or one funder, at any point, you're always worried that they're going to be pulling it out from under you, they're going to cancel it, or it's going to end and you're not going to have anything to replace it. The thing is that you know that you're making a huge difference in people's lives. You see it every day. With your customers, your clients, the people that are going through your programs and services, you see how you're changing their life. You're helping them, you're serving them, you're pouring everything into making their lives better. The problem is that it's really hard to tell people outside of your organization, outside of your doors, just exactly what's happening. They can't see the lives that you're changing. Every once in a while, you're able to get somebody to give you a testimonial or record a video showing about the change that they experienced by going through your services. Maybe you've tried satisfaction surveys or having people complete questionnaires that tell you all about the benefits that they experienced. Still, it's only a few people that respond. Not everyone is giving you their story. It just seems so challenging. Why can't other people see it? And when you tell those stories that you're hearing from your customers to your potential donors, your potential clients, other potential funders, or people who will pay for your services, they don't always believe you or they don't always hear you. It's really hard to tell the story of your organization, your impact, and do it in a way that gets people to give you money or to buy your services. Another common challenge that I see with both for-profit and nonprofit leaders is having way too much to do and not enough time to do it. You're pulled in every direction and everyone is expecting a lot of you. Ultimately, if something has to get done, the buck stops with you. You're overextended, you're pushing yourself, and you're working a lot, often sacrificing your own health and well-being in order to make sure that the business or the organization is successful. Ultimately, you are the one who's giving everything in order to make sure that your organization continues to not only keep its doors open, but also continue to change people's lives for the better. When you're finally able to hire someone or contract someone, or you get some volunteers who are willing to help, but then you discover that having more people does not always mean less work for you. Now, instead of all the tasks on your plate, you have all the work of trying to explain to other people how to do the work, giving them all of the materials, they have questions, they don't have all the resources they need, and they're coming to you for all of that information. So it almost seems like it's more work to have people on the team. It's more work to delegate your work to somebody else than it would have been to do it yourself. Sometimes I see the leaders just take it back and say, I will just do that because I will do it faster, I'll do it better, and don't worry about it. And then the people that are there to help you are left with nothing to do, or they have time to spare that they could be getting stuff done for your organization. Especially for nonprofits, but really for any type of organization, staff turnover is a huge problem. That means that your employees or your contractors are coming and working for you for only a short period of time before they leave and go off to something else. You've taken all this time to go through the hiring process, to go through the training and make sure that they know how to do their job, and then they leave. and you have to do it all over again. Even as these staff people are coming and going, you have to not only do all of that hiring and training, but you also then have to pick up the slack and cover that work when you're in between people. What's behind these challenges? What are the root causes? First might be that you don't have a clear mission. What that means is not that you don't know what your big impact is, but that you haven't identified exactly what you do in order to create that impact. You could, in nonprofits, be trying to do way too much. I see all the time nonprofit leaders running 17 different programs, and every time that there's a different opportunity, you go after it because you really want to make a difference in people's lives. But that spreads you and anybody who's working with you really, really thinly. When you're trying to do too much, it often means that you're not doing anything very well or consistently, and so you aren't following through to the point that you're actually able to create impact. When you're trying to talk to people about what you do, it can mean that it's really confusing. There's too many components, and it's unclear to them what exactly they're wanting to support you for. When it comes to a for-profit organization, you often also try to do too many things. You have maybe 1 or 2 services you're selling, but then you're trying to market them in 17 ways, and you have way too much going on. It makes it hard to talk to people about how you create any sort of transformation in people's lives if you're doing too many things. First, you may not have a clear map of the journey of transformation from what you do, the services that you delivered, through to the transformation that you're delivering for the people that go through your program. For a nonprofit, this might mean that you have identified what activities or services you deliver, and you know your long-term impact, but you haven't identified all the steps that happen between when someone joins your program and when each of the different phases of change in their lives occurs. In for-profits, it's the same. You have a service that you are promising is going to deliver some sort of benefit for them. Once they're your customer, you don't actually know exactly how they get from point A to their promised point B. When you have a map with each of the stages of change, of this is what happens in our service, these are the different phases of the services that we deliver, and this is in the short term, what changes in your life. This is in the intermediate term, what changes in your life, and this is how it leads to that long-term impact that we're promising. Whether you're for-profit or nonprofit, that is a clear path of change. And when it's a person who is potentially going to be your customer and buy into your service, or a participant join into your program, or it's a funder or donor who's considering giving your organization money, knowing exactly what that path is very clearly, from what the money is going to what the changes that you're promising, can be extremely compelling. When you have too many services, or there isn't a really clear link between what the service is and what you're promising will change because of the services, it's hard for people to want to buy in as a customer, and it's hard for people to want to buy in as a funder or donor. Second, having a clear map of the journey and a consistent method for how you deliver your services and operate your organization can improve your staff tenure and make it so that you more consistently deliver on the promise that you are giving for transformation. Having systems and processes in your organization that are repeatable make it so that it's easier to more quickly train new hires, new contractors, new people that join in different roles. So even if there are changes in your staff, you can easily bring people up to speed without sinking too much time into it. Establishing consistent processes for how you would deliver each of your services means that you can more consistently deliver the same high quality level of service to your customers and clients. It makes it easier for you to see and show that your customers and clients that are going through your services and programs are achieving some specific change in their life. If you're consistent with how you serve, you're going to be more consistent with how you change lives, which makes it easier for you to then show people outside of your organization, whether they be potential funders, potential customers, potential donors, potential participants, exactly what can change for them or change for people that go through the program. Additionally, consistently delivering services so that you are really delivering the same thing to each person who goes through your program every single time can mean that you can become more efficient when you're delivering that service. Having really consistent and efficient processes can mean that you take less time to deliver the same service. So you can actually serve more people, or you can serve the same number of people in less time with the same amount of money. So you're able to grow even without growing your dollars. Or you're able to take some of the stress off of your staff and you, because you're able to use the same amount of funding to do the work and serve the people, but do it with less time, so you're actually able to breathe a little bit in your day. Third, crafting a really clear, consistent, and brief message about who you are, what you do, and the impact that you create. Using that map of the journey that I referenced, you could tell a consistent short story about how you change people's lives. It might be one person's life that you changed that you could use as an example, or it could be from start to finish. What would that typical person experience? How would their life change? And what sort of information or data do you have to support that happens for the people that you serve? A really clear and consistent message about who you are and what you do and how you impact people's lives is going to make it so that regardless of who your audience is, it's going to be easy for you to customize your message to them. Starting with a template of knowing exactly what your core elements of your story are, so then you can emphasize the pieces that are more or less relevant to them. For a nonprofit, that could be emphasizing the outcome or benefit for the participant when you're talking to somebody who might join your program. Meanwhile, for a grant or grantor or a funder or a donor, you might want to talk about how many people have experienced that type of change, the amount of change that you've delivered for so many people. For a for-profit, it's going to be similar, where you, to a potential client, you might be in a sales call, or you might be talking about what you do, and you can show how a single person's story of transformation could be what they experience as well. A clear, consistent story that you tell so that it isn't confusing as to how that person experienced these 5 things, but really I only expect you to experience this one thing. Thinking clearly in your message about what are the activities or things in the service that everybody is going to participate in and experience? What pain or problem does it solve? What strength or asset does it build? What does it feel like for everyone to go through that? What are the changes that everyone experiences in the short term and the long term? If there are things that maybe some people experience and some people don't, maybe emphasize those less and focus on the things that almost everybody or everybody experiences. That way, it's easier for people to see that journey, and you keep it really clear without having too many branches in your story. The map of the journey is a really good way to help organize your stories, because you're telling a story of what the promised transformation is in the map of the journey when you're mapping how somebody goes from point A when they join the program or service to point B where they're receiving the desired change in their life. The message that you have when you're talking to people about what you do and why they might want to join your service, or why they might want to give money to your organization, is going to be demonstrating that that's a true story. In combination, if you have a clear map of the journey showing how you do what you do in order to achieve what change for people in their lives, and you combine that with systems and processes that make it so you can operate your organization and deliver your services consistently at the same level of high quality for every person that goes through your services, and you have a clear and consistent message about how you change people's lives, using as much data as you can to show that it is a consistent and large-scale change and not just something that one person experiences. That combination is going to make it easier for you to conquer the challenge of inconsistent revenue, to move toward more consistent revenue, and to conquer the challenge of having way too much to do because you're not able to build and sustain a team, by moving to having a system for delegating and delivering services consistently, even as people move in and out of your organization. So those are a few ways that you can tackle a few of the common challenges that leaders face while running their organizations. For more tips, subscribe to this channel, and if you liked this video, hit like. I'll see you in the next video. Rock on.